I don't know if they've given up, but they should see the handwriting on the wall. Just the thing that really struck them was it was an open.
You want two?
It was an open solicitation for a grant.
Thank you.
And the Port of Klickitat submitted and got part of the award from the same money. So
We got an extra. We got a couple of
so here's the evidence. It's like obviously there were no strings on it because how does the Port of Klickitat? They were one of the grant awardees. Just like
okay, we'll save it. We'll save it for a treat.
How could you say it was NSA only if it was like
a treat if they're good?
The Port of Klickitat in Klickitat County that you said isn't eligible. So you know what? For the needed.
So those projects have to get approved by court.
They will go to McKed will be the grant administrator. You'll submit your thing. It'll go to the loan board.
Right, but it doesn't really go through court.
It will still, the commission will have to review for consistency, just like they do now, which is really it's a formality.
Right.
Because there's no
It's
project
really up to McKed.
right. As long as it's not for, because no activity in the scenic area could be inconsistent or they couldn't be doing it anyway, whatever the business was, because you'd have to have, it's possible there could be a that scene.
Are these funds only good for scenic area?
That's a question. I don't think so. I think it's countywide.
Well, that's what I was.
I think so.
Something
That was my
or at least
argument too, is
find
like
the
if it's eligible, you should be able to, if it's outside the scenic area, then why is that even an issue? So, we're trying to give everybody a way to save face. Okay, whenever you're ready.
Morning.
We're a minute early, but that's okay.
That's all right.
You'll need it. Yeah.
I hope.
Okay, so we have our 6-year hearings today at 1:30.
Do we? Oh.
Yeah.
Yes,
At 6:30.
At 6.
Yeah. So we'll have maps and handouts if case the public comes to the meeting. We have a few items on the consent agenda. Item number 7 is to reauthorize Pam, Jeff, and I to sign for reimbursement requests through WashDOT. Since Susan left, we had to revise that in our agreement. Item number 8 is a small works contract to repair stucco around the exterior of this building that we noticed as we've been working around the courthouse. Item number 9 is a small works contract for the snow removal in the parking lot at the Pioneer Center.
When is the last time you had more than one bidder for that contract?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like 3, 4, 5 years?
Well, we had 2 last year.
for that. Not many. It's harder to
See, when
get
I was a
people down
baby.
there.
Well, that's kind of
It's
the
harder to
kicker,
get people to bed down there?
Yes.
Yeah,
because the bid was way over engineer estimate, but it's the only one, so.
yeah, we have one. Yeah. Yeah, it's just the guys that are there are busy because there's a lot more work when it snows down on that side routinely. And so they have other areas that they can work and
They don't want to be tied
They don't
up
wanna be
either.
tied up.
That's the big thing, because I've talked to different people down there, different contractors. They're, look, I don't want to be tied up the whole winter. If we don't get any snow, we used to get no bids till we put in the clause that we got no snow, we pay them a one-time payment. But they're like, I don't want to be tied up all winter because our contract says you have to plow when we get snow.
Yeah,
Before
snow, it has to be plowed, right?
Yes,
before people get there.
right.
Yeah, so we're really tying them down.
Because the contract was interesting, because then you had to move the piles within 24 hours, and I'm like, oh, interesting, so that might
Yeah,
answer that way.
that's what makes it tough. They just don't want to tie up their equipment, and then they have to have the equipment and all that stuff. So it's tough.
Yeah.
I don't know, but you're making $155 an hour, so.
If it snows.
If it snows, it's lucrative if it snows. If it's not,
It's a snow
I
year,
I
you're
could buy
good.
a snow machine and then just shoot it over the fence and land it on that property. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
where do we have a walk on too?
Okay.
We have a walk on item too, right, Lee?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's to cancel the contract.
Yeah.
We talked to the PA. There's a clause in there. They could ask for some money, but we actually talked to the contractor. He says, you know, I've done a lot of work with you guys. I'm fine.
Okay.
I understand.
That's what
Well, tell him thank you.
We did.
Yeah.
So there'll be nothing. The contract just goes away.
We have 2 payment approvals for ongoing contracts. The first is with Central Washington Asphalt, and this is for the West Garland project for $501,480.23. We have one also for Grade Works, and this is for the Old Mountain Road project in the amount of $171,572.32. So we're gonna get started. I'm not sure I updated everything, but construction side, we're getting started on the guideposts project. So our guys are out there laying out where they go. And the contractor will follow up with actually installing them. And I think it's not till next week when they were gonna be here, when I talked to them last week.
We
And
have the sign inspector now.
No signs, just guideposts.
Yeah,
Oh,
Still
that's
waiting.
right. We're just gonna put the posts up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just the brown or white reflectors. That's all.
There's not an inspector for those.
No, that's why we can get.
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
they're one of the pre-approved items,
Yes.
so they trust the manufacturer.
Okay, good to know.
I am looking forward to having Darling Road flagged, paved, painted. You can actually see the road in the fog coming in the morning. It'll be great.
Mhm.
Yep. Let's see, Roosevelt paver, so the rain has kind of slowed progress on completing main line like they had thought or wanted to do last week. And so we're hoping for sometime next week, Jeff says by the end of the month.
Yep, I see. End of the month.
It's just weather dependent to finish out,
Well, it
so,
looks like we're gonna get a lot of rain the rest of this week, so good luck.
yeah, so I don't think there'll be a lot of dates, but we'll see. Design side, still working on Courtney, the Klickitat path and the parking lots for the courthouse. So, and the guys are out though this week. I'm marking the locations for the guideposts on all the roads ahead of the contractor. So they're busy doing that right now. And then it's kind of a short week, I think, with the holiday on Thursday and a lot of people taking Friday off to make it a long weekend. Maintenance side, so we had the road rally on Saturday. They said they won't come back in November again because it's too wet and it tears up a lot more, obviously, when everything's wet. So our crews are out cleaning things up and putting things back together on the west side and the east side. So it'll cost them a little more, because they did actually tear up some of the pavement on Berry Hill Loops Road. So,
Really?
yeah,
It's like historic pavement.
historic pavement, yeah.
How did they tear up the pavement?
The edge of
Sliding
it.
the edges.
Oh,
Oh, so just breaking
Like poke
off.
off
Yeah.
the edges.
So, and then, there's more gravel pushed around, but can be put back in place a little easier.
we got high school kids that push gravel around, going probably just about as fast.
Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much it. And then some brushing and grading. And again, it's kind of a short week for them as well on the maintenance side. On the facilities, our contractor is expecting to get the temporary occupancy permit tomorrow, which is great. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that will happen. And I haven't talked to Erin yet, but she'll be the first one to move. And if we can start moving some of her stuff on Friday, we will. What they're not currently using right now, and we just expect Friday to be kind of quiet around here. And then your guys' office gets moved on the 16th and 17th. Most of it will probably go on the 16th. And which is what you requested.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's coming up.
I'm ready.
All right.
You in there? I'm ready. I'm actually
I know
ready.
you're ready. We're all doing-
I'm
Nick's
close.
working
I still
on it.
got some papers, but
Well, I shouldn't.
I'm taking one box, that's it.
Well, I'm not, yeah, I could move right now. As far as
Pick
what
up
I'm
and
doing.
over.
Yeah, walk over there with my,
I'm here.
I'm here.
I'd imagine for the rest of the room.
I already did that.
Anyway, so we'll start moving people next week, and then at the end of the week is planning. And I think planning, they have a little more to move files. So that'll take a little longer.
So do you have like a box fan or something because of the weather?
Yeah, we've rented a U-Haul
Okay,
for that for a month.
for a month.
Yeah.
Right.
Just because of the weather and, yeah, keep everything dry.
Dryish.
Let's see. Civil work, so we've removed all the whole material down to where the environmental person said. They tested everything. We got, we're waiting for some of the results. We got some back that are clear, and then they're into DOE to give us the approval to backfill the hole. So we're kind of waiting on that. And I think at first, when they told them, well, they said we have 180 days, and we're like, well, yeah, but we'd like to get our hole filled.
Right, we have a hole in the middle
Yeah.
of the courthouse parking lot.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of where we're at right now, is trying to get some reasonableness to the conversation and get approval to backfill. So that's where we're at. And then our guys will haul backfill material out of our Badger Gulch quarry, which is not too far away. And
Are we gonna have to put in the monitoring wells?
I don't know. That'll be what DOE will come back with. You know, if they're not happy with what we've done, then they will likely require those. Or if because the last they said was, well, you know, there's fractured basalt at the bottom of the hole. Some of that,
So it's the entire county.
yeah,
Yeah.
right, could have leaked into those cracks, and then when there's high groundwater, it could push that up and recontaminate your material. And I'm like, you know, so we have to use our heads too.
Right.
To make a determination, but it's a struggle,
Yes,
so.
I would go with 90% chance of monitoring wells. if
Yeah, I
had
don't
to
think
put a
so.
wager on
How
it.
many total yards did we pull out of there? Was it what we were expecting?
900
And we were
tons,
900 tons.
yeah. Which is about, you know, almost half of that, so. For cubic yards.
Huh.
So is that less than we were expecting now?
No, that's about right,
Okay.
about the same. So the hole didn't grow, it just changed shape. Based on what they discovered or found.
So what would a monitoring well look like?
Just a hole in
Hole in the ground.
the ground that they put a tube
Tap
in,
over that we then from time to time.
that they come in and check.
Sample,
check,
yeah.
Sample.
If the,
We pay them, and
if they find something, we gotta dig it up again.
No, then it's
No.
just a site. It's listed as a site, and
Yes.
it's contaminated site at some point in the future, somebody may re-clean it up.
yeah, and if it's so many years without something, then they can actually,
close it off.
they can clear it, or you can have them, they can want to go further out.
God, I love government. I love government. Keep telling myself that. I love government. I love government.
Some parts not as much though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, we're still working through that. So far, since it's kind of a time and materials, it's hard to define what the work even is, you know, so we originally talked that, you know, could be as high as 200,000. You know, we've spent 50, and that doesn't include us hauling the material off or the tipping fees that we did this month. So October's, we spent 50,000 on our testing and submitting to getting approval for DOE and doing our test pits and all that work associated with that. I think we're gonna be quite a bit under the 200,000, you know, for backfilling and our hauling, because we're actually we haul the material out, and we're gonna haul the fill material back in from one of our sites. So while we still have to pay for it, the cost for the materials much cheaper than buying it on the open market.
Yes.
So,
But then are we gonna use our excavator to fill it back in, or you're gonna bring your own back in?
no, they'll compact it. It's basically rock. So they just need a hoe pack until they get up to that foot where they were gonna have to do that anyway, and then that's on them. So we're gonna put Corey's balls in the bottom, which require minimal effort to compact it, or, basically move it around till it kind of locks in place. And then we have common bar, which is, I don't know, I would look at it as a shale material, shale rock with dirt in it.
Yeah.
So it's mostly rock. And so it really doesn't need much compactive effort either, because it's mostly rock. And then we'll put fabric in between those layers, and then they'll come back and cap it with the rest of the parking lot. So
How much is it gonna cost us extra for capping the parking lot, considering those guys are gonna have to move back in and everything else?
I don't know yet. I don't know what extra they would want to do that, but the problem is, well, I don't know. I won't know till they give us a price on it, but if it's like anything else, it seems to be when we change things, if we change it, we said, okay, we'll do the rest of the work. We never seem to get back as much money as it's actually worth for us to do it. It's always less. I mean, it's just because it's hard on our road jobs, everything's a unit price. And so we know exactly how much things cost. On the buildings and all this civil work it's still lump sum. So you don't really have a breakdown what the contractor was. It's what they tell you it is.
If you're giving it back, it was like, well, that was just this
Yeah,
little bit at the
yeah,
end.
it's
If they're
not-
adding it, oh my God. it was this
Yeah,
huge-
It's a different negotiating process. So, but that's why the road, it's hard to get used to going from the road stuff to this.
Yeah.
The road stuff's really defined.
Mhm.
Building stuff, not so much.
No, It's all.
Are we gonna have a problem asphalting that or capping it in late November/December/weather season?
If we get moving, we get something from DOE, we'll have the hole filled up in a couple days.
Yeah.
And ready for the contractor to finish it. And there are still, the plant that's set up in Riley's quarry is still there. And we're actually over in Roosevelt. I mean, if it came down to that, our contractor's still paving for another couple of weeks. So if we get this done quick, yeah. But if not, at some point, Mid-Columbia will shut down, and so will Munson and the Dalles.
We'll have half a parking lot until spring.
No, we could still
Well,
go, weather's good. You can still go to Trout.
It's a long way away. You go to Troutdale and then Yakima too.
Yeah.
So
We just need DOE to do that.
Yeah,
right,
And understand that it's time.
time is of the
sensitive.
essence.
Yes,
And again, it's the parking lot of the courthouse
Yeah.
yeah.
where court is taking place. So.
It's hard to get them to care sometimes.
Yeah.
Like we do. So. Anyway, I'll give you an update. Hopefully they'll come back with something this week, but don't hold your breath. Okay. All right, so I'm still working on getting the flooring replaced, the vinyl, furniture, pretty much everything's here, except for it will trickle into next spring. You have some temporary furniture. So the moving, swapping offices. So there is some furniture required that we don't have to do this. And because we were going to use cubicles for one employee, Elizabeth, and she will be in another office, so the cubicle doesn't work for her anymore. Rob,
Which,
so
you talking heavy issue?
yeah, so she moves out into an office space. Her desk was going to be one of the cubicles, the two cubicles in WSU's old space on the second floor.
And one of the two cubicles in HR space won't work.
Well, she's not moving. Her and Marty are staying
Oh, that's right,
upstairs.
yeah.
Yeah. And then so there's some furniture and it amounts to about 13,000, and I'm just guessing that it'll cost us at least that to do the other door work and stuff to get that changed around. None of that will be done before we can start moving people.
So the furniture for one office is 13,000.
No, so here's what, so HR, so they had a table, so the furniture that was in some of these other areas doesn't work in the new spaces. So Rob needs another smaller table. Let's see, there's a couple lateral file cabinets and a couple chairs to go with the table. Like I said, there's no furniture for one employee, and then a small round table for them since they can't use the shared space in HR space. And then WSU, I think my biggest dilemma, their stuff is fairly minored for furniture, but the cubicles, so they had a big work table upstairs on the second floor, which is what they use. They have a bunch of stuff stored in their storage room. They pull it out, the 4-H workers come in there, and then they sort through and make up boxes for the 4-H groups in the county. And there's a lot of stuff that happens, so they need a big table. In the new space, downstairs, WSU had a storage room and a library and a proctor room. So they have all their stuff for the public to come in and look at. We bought all those cabinets for it, and then there's a desk so people can take exams. So they need those two spaces, which they have downstairs, but then they need that place for the big table. The area, their big area is filled up with cubicles. So I have to move the cubicles somewhere. They're the only place that there's really room to do that in the new building is where planning and building is. If you remember, you go up there, there's that very large open space. There's just 2 cubicles. Originally, it was planned to have more, but that's not how the directors wanted it set up. But that is really the only location that they could go. There's no other large space like that they could go other than if we had need in some other building or location.
The new WSU on the first floor will have no cubicles.
No, they
2
don't need
offices and no cubicles.
Yeah, so they have 2 offices, a reception, and they just need a big work area for a table and chairs. And that's that open area. So I guess for them, it's, no physical changes to the rooms other than the cubicles are in the way. There's really no room because the entry is really small.
Yes, sir.
Gordy may have mentioned this on the phone. We canceled some fireproof file cabinets that we were going to use, and I think it was about a $14,000 savings because there was a restocking fee. So hopefully that would offset some of this other cost.
Yeah. It's probably closer to 20,000 that is an offset. So yeah, there is a savings there. So anyway, I just wanted to make you aware of that, what the cost is, and that's some of it's my guess because I don't have a cost from the contractor yet. And then I don't know what the furniture people are going to charge us to move cubicles if we do that. But before I do that, I just wanted to let you know that there will be extra costs for moving some of the furniture and the cubicles to a new location, as well as these other items of furniture that would be needed. So
Nothing's free.
okay, and then I'll talk to the directors about them getting 2 new cubicles in their space, if that's what we want to do.
If they want them, they can have them.
Okay,
If not, I guess we
we could
break them
take them
down
apart and
and
store them
store them.
until we need them.
So the big table, they can't use one room for 2 things. Like downstairs at WSU, they've got, they're gonna have that big room now where there's like the conference table right now of his. I always figured that would just be a same thing, the proctor room, conference table, you could do all that stuff in the same room. No? And then leave the cubicles out there?
It fits, so they have a lot of stuff. And there isn't as much room in that other, where Rob has had a storage area, it's a much narrower space. So their storage area could be maximized in the other room where the table could go.
Well, either way, I think the cubicles could come out because I don't see any chance in Hades that they gain more employees in there to need those cubicles. So
Yeah,
either way, the cubicles can come out because they're not going to be needed.
that's probably the cheapest part.
Yeah, throwing in a desk and some chairs, I'm just, $13,000 desk is,
Well, it's not, I mean, it's between the table, there's a desk, there's cabinets, there's actually 2 tables. I have a whole list. It's not just one office worth, but it's just to make both these spaces work.
Got it.
So.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll move forward. Let's see. So we'll move down to Courthouse Entry. You want to talk about something? Oh, okay.
Or you move on.
All right. So we'll, since you asked, I said I'd bring back some other mock-ups, so I have 2 options. This was the first one, which was project approved with the commissioners and project dedicated. I have those 2 options. So the one option there, and then if you flip the page, because I'm not sure which one you want to go with, this one is the one that's revised on the second page to just show when it was approved. So there's 2 versions. The one on the second page is what we've done typically, but if we could go with the one that's on the front, which reflects your guys's modifications.
Can we get rid of the words project and just say approved 2020 and dedicated 2022?
Sure.
I don't.
whether
Yeah, these take a little while to get fabricated, so.
So are we thinking we'll probably do it in January or when are we
Yeah.
gonna dedicate the bill?
It says 2022. I
Yeah.
guess.
When he says that, I mean, is it probably gonna be January or is it gonna be March?
I hope it's January.
Okay.
We won't know until we get
It'll be
away.
August.
Could be August.
Right, well, yeah, these days.
Have
you
a
don't know.
barbecue. and
Yeah.
We'll do it.
Exactly.
solar tour.
Solar tour.
For the record, that was on the roof.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Get your
yeah.
mind out together, everybody. Yeah, solar panels on the roof.
With the part.
Yeah, on the roof.
All right, we'll go with this
Yeah,
one.
I like that.
We'll get that
Very
ready.
good either way. I don't care.
And did you check with Sizemore and Council?
Checked with all of them and they're all, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Courthouse Entry, the contractor just has a couple minor punch list screws. Some of the screws are loose, some of the screw heads need to be replaced. The east vestibule is being rehabbed by our carpenter. And then we'll do the stucco and painting on the vestibule and we are done. All entries will be open. No change on the other stuff.
Time left over.
Yeah, not much, but no.
No, I keep looking for next step on Sadis and no significant change.
No, no,
Try to get a
no.
lease agreement or
We're
something to, because
No.
I get yelled at like, I don't know, at least once. a
I'm
month
working
from
on
Ryder.
I'm working on the lease agreement now. We're putting it out. It's gonna be difficult. I can't do negotiations in open session, but it's gonna be difficult coming up with a dollar figure
Right.
that we can justify because we're not getting a very big piece of property and we're leasing it. So I think they're gonna want more than what we're gonna want to pay.
The conservation district
I think so, but I haven't, Lauren and I are gonna sit down and talk.
Well, you just remind him
Yeah,
that we bent over backwards to get to him so he could get his deal done.
Oh, yeah, we'll be discussing,
partners are partners. On both ways.
because I already had the deal sealed. It was just a matter of, you
Yeah.
know, and it would have been ours.
Put it down and let
Yes.
them have it and now, yeah, so. Yeah, be nice. Okay. And then I just want to thank you for having the brass on this year's auction. I asked early in the year and you did it, and so thank you for that.
Madam Clerk?
We want to do this? I got some more good news.
Oh, okay.
Just got an email when we were sitting here. Still got it. We got the grant for the water line project.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
You're the master.
Still was able to pull her off. This is the kind of leads into that because we do well and we
I'm not sure. what-
We
I was
deliver
reading it,
grants.
like, I'm not sure what we need to do with it.
Washtenaut's offering us some more money.
Yeah.
Oh, Lee, yeah, that's, Lee, are you, was that what you were?
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
didn't
was gonna
know
bring
how
that
it
up,
works.
what we need to do.
Yeah.
This is the risk redistributing sanctions of funds. As you can see, I highlighted our county. If you look at the counties, we are the highest county that they're offering extra dollars.
Yeah, everybody at the bottom are the bigger counties where they've actually grouped their dollars together in MPO.
Thank you.
And so it's pretty well. So last year or this year, the state didn't spend their federal allocation. They were, because they weren't doing projects. And so their money was redistributed to others, counties.
Yes.
And there was a formula based on how much you spent, when you spent it. So getting things done, when you say you're going to get them done, played into the formula, which really helped us. And then we spent ahead to do our paving projects, which is where we've kind of targeted these dollars. And so that's why the formula worked out. We far and above everybody else for getting extra money, but there is a match. And we don't know all the details on what the program or how this will all work out. And hopefully by next week, we'll have a better handle on it.
Yes.
So but with these dollars, there's always a 13% match. And then we have about 900,000 extra that we have the ability to tap into. And so just kind of in general, buying in bulk, I think we paid, so the West Darland project, our estimate was $100 a ton by buying in bulk. On Roosevelt, it was 70. So there's a huge difference by what you get for your money.
Yes.
By buying a little more and making it a viable project for somebody to bring in a temporary plant and batch right out of one of our sites or a local quarry. So the other thing that we do with STP dollars, which we still have to do this year, is there's an agreement, just kind of in general, that we pass through these dollars to the cities. So a percentage of these, because they don't have to spend federal dollars, you have to have a CA status, which allows you to administer federal funds. The county has it, most other people don't. The state and the counties have this, and a lot of bigger cities have it. Our small cities don't. So basically, we pass through a percentage of those dollars that we receive to the cities of Goldendale, White Salmon, and Bingen. So I think for the Roosevelt, the dollars we're spending, the SB dollars, which was closer to 3 million.
Yes, so it was over
it's a-
300,000.
Yeah, so that's kind of the pass through. So yeah, we get this, but we have to pass through road dollars then to those other entities.
Yes.
Because they have no ability to spend federal dollars, can't do it.
Right.
And it would cost you, you know, I think Bingen, their allocation is around 20,000-ish.
Yeah, I got it right
Okay,
here. If we did this piece, Pigeons would be approximately 21,000, Goldendale would be 122, and white salmon would be about 75, between 75, $76,000.
yeah, so
Their allocation.
So even if you had CA ability,
It's not enough
you
money.
wouldn't want to take those dollars for Bingen, because it'd cost you too much to administer them. That's another reason why we do it. So anyway, that's kind of another expense, but we'll kind of lay it all out. But I just want to tell you in general, because it's good news.
Yes,
You know, we did well in the state for getting additional dollars to, that these dollars pay for arterial projects. So, you know, Bickleton Highway, Centerville Highway, Snowden Road, those kinds of things. And because of the strings attached to reduce the amount of red tape and timeline, we use these dollars to pave our roads.
yes.
Because it's really straightforward. We're within that roadway prism, and we need to do it anyway. It's just the color of money and how you use it is a challenge in our business. So,
When the cities get these funds, do they have a match that they have to put on it too?
no,
It's just road funds, so they're required to use them on transportation projects.
So they do get a benefit because we're taking the strings off the money
Yes,
that they're getting
yes. Laundry,
out of the
whatever.
goodness of our
Yes.
heart.
and we'll have to renew the agreement. The agreement is expired, and we have to renew that anyway, so. But it's based on population and our miles of arterials roads within those jurisdictions.
Yes. There might not, I don't know if I would say too much at the meeting next week. If you look, Mason and Grace Harper aren't going to be too happy because they actually lost.
Lost money, right, they took it away. Yeah,
Yeah, you wouldn't be popular, I don't think, if you said, look what we did. And they go, well, there went some of our money.
Yeah. So anyway, that's just want to share that good news, and we'll let you know more as we find out more.
Multiple pieces of good news in a day and the sun comes
The sun's
out.
coming out.
Uh-oh.
I guess
What
we're
do you
done
got,
for the
Rob?
day
Yeah.
then.
No, I did have one
Nothing
thing.
Rob brought Perry's unique one.
Yeah. We did get a letter, I know it was copied to you folks from the White Salmon Valley School District on the expanding the safe routes to school. What do we need to do to?
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
I don't know what it means or what it means
Yeah.
we should do. in
Does it mean we
response.
need to plow it every time? Like,
I don't
Well, I
know.
think if I'm reading it, it's the same route that, I mean, I think it's the existing loop,
Right, I haven't read it either.
Going down Loop Road,
Down
down the
Loop,
hill, and
which
towards-
I mean, we already are required, I mean, that paths and trails, I'm sorry, I missed whatever that was. Anyway, whatever, yeah, so we
Yeah.
can
So
respond.
if that's in the city, is the county's responsible?
It's
for
not in
serving?
the city, it's in the unincorporated.
Yeah,
part.
they say we have, there's no need for improvements.
Right.
And I'm not sure what it means, because we have a path, we pretty much rebuilt the sidewalks. And we have a path along Loop Road that goes down to the state highway. But it doesn't, there's nothing on the state highway really, except for the shoulder that's there. And then if they want to get into Pucker Huddle, then we really don't have any facilities there.
Well, I think it goes down to the road and then it goes down where the highway prism's supposed to move to or whatever. Along that side of it,
Yeah.
along the state highway.
Yeah,
Well, if this is a designated school route, I guess, would we be having to have a contractor shovel said sidewalk and put snow melt on it every time it snows?
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's what I was. worried
Yeah.
about.
Yeah,
I don't know.
would it require a higher level of maintenance?
In
Snow
winter
removal in
conditions?
the winter
Yeah.
conditions, if it's a safe. route.
Potentially, because we don't do that currently.
I'll try to reach out and get more information. I thought that Public Works had done other safe routes to schools with other communities. And,
Yeah, this is different than I'm used to, because typically the school district will have a safe route. They
Yes.
develop a safe route to
That's
school.
kind of
It's a
where I
walking
would-
route.
I
Right.
would like them to do it, and
Yeah.
even allow them to put it on county property. I just don't want to be in charge of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, they
I
get
hope
to
this
plow
year.
it. It's their safe route. They get to plow. it.
Right.
Let me give you an easement to put your pass in.
I'll see what I can find out.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you.
This little thing
Yeah,
behind me.
thanks.
I'm gonna have a little short. Your-
Yeah. Put it, yeah.
Then I have something for my coffee pot.
Oh. Okay, I just want to make sure that you didn't get lost.
Okay. Is this the sinking chair, which?
That one works pretty good. Sorry, Jen.
I really can't.
Everybody's gonna laugh.
They are.
I hope this
That's
keeps going.
Okay.
2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Because they know we won't be here next week, so the party will be.
Right. Yeah. Next week's
The company party, yeah.
You got good news?
Kind of.
less bad.
Good morning.
Good morning. Just a couple of things to highlight. So the third supplemental has a public hearing on the 23rd. There was some misunderstanding on my part regarding the capital improvement plan. But with the help of Public Works, Jeff, we got it worked out yesterday. So you'll see the setting the public hearing as an add-on today. Dave McClure stopped by my office regarding Economic Development Fund 119's breakdown to come up with a dollar amount that could be used for $0.09. That's about $12,840.
That's all.
That's all.
Wow.
Due to the $0.09, he said is restricted to wages and benefits. So that's the difference at this point. Okay. Of course, he did say, unless you want to give me more employees.
Yeah.
Levies.
So before we move on for
Sure.
that, so it's an additional 12,000 over what we're already
yep.
transferring. now.
That's the difference.
So not a.
Oh, so it's not, because we already picked a number.
Right.
There's
It's
already,
12,000 more than that
there's
number.
already an allocated amount to Fund 119. The difference of that is that we could add to would be the 12,000.
Okay.
Just so I want to make sure I understand, because the figure that we're transferring now is a percentage of the total, which would be, I think it's 20%
Mhm.
of the total. So is this a function of possibly that number's likely higher than it has been because the sales tax has increased significantly?
Mhm.
So I don't know what number we used as the tentative number before we changed the number to add 100, whatever,
Yeah, I don't have that number. I
right,
don't have that.
120, I think. So. Okay, I'm just wondering, because it's like it's different than a hard number where we've transferred 100,000, we've already doing that, and we were hoping to add another 120,000 to it. Is a different conversation than 20% of a number that's bigger that we were already transferring more than we had planned on in the past because the number's gone up
Mhm.
as a percentage. And so we can only transfer another $12,000.
I think that's a better discussion with Dave.
Okay.
And the last thing on my list is the assessor and her staff took some time with me on Friday to teach me all about property levies and the requirements. So big thank you to Krista and Jessica and Caitlin. Later today in the public hearing packet, you will see the property tax levy certificate and draft resolutions for those.
Thank you.
Here you go.
We have a few HR items to talk about, and then we'll go into executive session at the end of our update, talk about labor. Mail services, I'm not sure there was a plan put in place when the new building was designed or so when HR moves, the postal machine will stay here. Planning has one that building code and planning uses, and I think you guys use, and they'll take that to the new building. but the lease is up in a year at the end of 2022, and they hadn't planned to renew it. So currently, some departments run their own mail in this building. We run most of it every day, and then we deliver it to the post office, which never really made sense to me, but that's the way it was. So we talked to the postmaster, and they can provide, or we can provide a larger outgoing mail bin in this room. They didn't know they could get into that room. The mail folks didn't know they could get in there. And so we wouldn't have to deliver, nobody would have to deliver mail. They would pick it up because they'll take it in the outgoing, and the ones here and the ones in that building are just not that big for the bulk mail. But they said that we could put a larger thing here.
Would we be able to have an outgoing over there, or is all the?
Well, there
mail
is
over
one
there?
in the wall unit that's on.
Well,
the
that's what I'm asking, is
But
all
it's
the
not very
outgoing
big.
mail over there gonna have to be carried across the
No,
street?
no, they'll
every day?
pick it up over there. She told me they'll pick it up over there. It's just not very big. It's so if a department had a mass mailing, it wouldn't fit.
Unless we put a bigger box in.
And then we would propose, and this probably needs to be discussed with others, that departments run their own mail. The codes are posted in there, as opposed to HR coming back over every day to run the mail for the courthouse, or for the departments over there that don't have a mail machine. I'm not quite sure why departments couldn't process their own mail. The codes are the same. We would still keep the postage.
Do the
meter.
monthly reports.
Yeah, we still handle that, but as far as actually physically running the mail, I think we would propose that departments, some of which do it now, we just process our own, and then we have a larger outgoing box there and maybe over there for the postal service to pick up the outgoing mail. So we're not asking for a decision. I suspect there has to be discussion with departments here that are used to somebody else processing their mail.
Clarification, are you talking about all departments everywhere doing their own mail, including the new building, or are you doing the new mail or the mail
No,
over there? and
Basically,
maybe
the
doing
third
it
floor over there, well, yeah, basically, we're proposing every department process their own mail. For 2022, the building codes, planning, public works, in some degree, public health, and I think they use both machines. Will continue to run their own mail in 2023. They'll have to decide whether they're gonna renew their postal machine or bring their mail over here. The first and second floor departments don't have access to a mail machine. They'll have to bring their mail over here, outgoing mail for postage. We're just proposing that each department process that themselves as opposed to HR doing it. So we've already solved the post office picking it up. We would just, I guess I'd like to hear why departments would be opposed to processing their own mail. Of which I'm sure there will be some.
There will be, maybe not,
Maybe
maybe I'm,
I tried to give the whole
maybe I'm
thing,
borrowing trouble.
I tried to give the whole thing to Brenda.
No, That
She said
that
no.
evolved.
So we would just put that
That's how
on.
HR ended up doing it.
But when we move, there's no place over there for the machine, for AM machines, so it'll stay over here. So.
Right, I would think you're gonna need one in each building, and it just efficiency wise, hauling mail across the street doesn't seem efficient to me. For 9 different departments over there, so I, in my head, I'm thinking a mail machine over there, and a mail machine over here.
So anyway, just put that on the table and.
And I think departments should be doing their own.
And some don't have very much mail. Some Brenda's would have, licensing and stuff, and sometimes they do it. I mean, everybody's, if we're not here or somebody's gone, they'll, the codes are posted, so they can run their own mail. But so I just haven't brought it up to the collective, I suspect. Was there a plan when the new building was built for how to handle mail?
I think I remember you saying you're leaving this one here.
Yeah, pretty much.
And well, we have the one that I don't know, can't really speak for that it can be used for everybody, but if it's possible, I don't see why everybody can't use the one that we share currently between Annex 1 and 4 for the whole building.
And if we took it, I don't know where we'd put it, because we couldn't have all the.
Yeah, but even if you took it, then you're still dealing with the same problem of
Right.
efficiencies if they get hauled.
Everybody here's gotta go over there.
I mean, that was the whole point of why there was one
Yeah.
you know, when in Annex 1 versus hauling the mail all over here to use this one, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
I think we should just leave one in there, and if we can figure out a way to do it, it should be everybody in the building runs their own in that space. Everybody in this building runs their own in that one.
Right.
And
We just have to figure out it eventually, where the mail machine
goes, right? If there's no space, oh, well, it's going somewhere now. Can it stay where it is and
I would think so.
have folks have access to it?
Yeah, I don't know where Mochi and Lynn have it planned to be, but somewhere up there on the third
On the
floor.
3rd floor, so everybody can just haul their stuff upstairs.
We thought a discussion was better than just moving and leaving the machine on
Leaving the
the
machine
Just leaving the
unattended.
machine. Here's
Well,
your
it'd be
gift.
one way of solving
Here's
the
your gift to the
problem.
courthouse.
You got the codes.
You got the
so when it's just piled up in there, somebody notices, oh, you stopped doing the mail? Yeah, no, we're not doing it anymore.
So the issue of a larger outgoing box over there, we'll have to talk to Gordy. I'm not sure where such a box would reside, and they indicated we could provide it or they could provide it, but haven't had those.
Say, I don't mind if they put a blue mailbox on the doorstep and we could just throw it in there, blue mailbox. I know there's one right outside of the health department over there. Yeah, I think we should get ahead of, since people are starting to move in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, by the end of the month, they'll be moved. If we're gonna make everybody do their own mail or try it, we need to give them as much heads up as possible.
And it's not an issue of security. This room has been unlocked, right? You know, it's not like people go in there and run their home mail. I mean, public. It's been unlocked.
Only employees do that?
Yeah. Okay, moving on. The 2022 COLA. So as you know, we've talked during some of the budget meetings, non-represented or the regular employee salary survey is still being worked on. We saw the draft, sent it back for some additional work. It won't be ready for prime time this calendar year because the impact on the salary plan is going to have to be reviewed and changes made to do a thoughtful process. I just don't see it getting done this year with other things now on our plate. It's going to be sometime in the first quarter that would be ready to be rolled out. So we would, Casey can tell you what the minimum wage increase is, but we would propose for discussion that all regular employees receive a 4% COLA, which is the same COLA that all union employees received. And then if any adjustment can be made as a result of this survey, like with the union employees, we would deal with that on a position by position basis or grade by grade basis. But treat all employees the same, we would propose a 4% COLA effective January 1st. That was included in the revenue we set aside for 2022's budget. Casey, the minimum wage increase.
Yes, the minimum wage is going from $13.69 to $14.49 as of January 1st, 2022. The 5.84% increase. And that would put a difference of our step 1 on grade 32 of about 16 cents above the minimum wage if there's no increase where it's sitting at right now.
How many employees do we have at step 32?
It's our van drivers.
So we will address that compression when we take a look at the whole plan as part of the. So we would propose that 4% COLA, and that would allow Jen to put that, at least to know what that cost is going to be moving forward.
I'm a yes on 4% COLA.
Mhm.
I'm a yes on 4% COLA.
Yeah, I mean, we budgeted for it.
All employees should be equal.
Okay.
How many van drivers do we have?
Full-time, like 3, I think. We have some part-time and then several casual.
I was just curious.
One thing, just a heads up that Casey and I are talking about, and I'll bring back to you at a later date.
oftentimes you'll be asked to post a position within the department, within the county, to the general public. Historically, have a process that we follow, I'm not sure it's documented. I think the rule should be jobs are available to the public because these are good jobs in a county of this size. There are exceptions, and the exceptions being promotion. So trying to predetermine best we can when a position is promotable, when a position should be opened up to the public or if a position should just be opened up within the county. And there's two extremes to that. The public tends to hate it when the job's posted and they think there's already a decision made and it's just checking a box. I think they equally hate it when there's no access to these jobs, which are benefited, well-paying jobs in the county. So we're looking at that. We're going to take another look at that and see if we can at least document it better what the process is. For instance, some counties will call a position a career track position. So if there's a 1, 2, 3 and you're at 1 that's career track, they can promote you, don't have to post it. So if we pre-designate within the boxes in the org charts or in the job descriptions, what's a career track job, and then that would be available for promotion and people would know that ahead of time. And then other ones, typically in many counties, director level positions are always posted and open to the public. And then of course, internal athletics is going to apply. So we can predetermine some of that and document it, and it kind of takes, then departments will know when they come and ask the commissioners, and you'll know what at least the rule is. And then if you want to apply an exception, that's completely within your authority. So just let you know, we're kind of looking into that, because occasionally when we post a position with only in a department or the county, we get some pushback from other folks in other departments or the public. Sometimes will say stuff. So anyway, we're going to take a look at that and come back to you. And then I think that's it in general session. Jeff's enjoying the new building because they're the only department in it, so he doesn't think it's too bad to come in out of the cave. The building stays empty.
One giant cave.
Next week it starts to change.
Yes.
But anyway, so if there's any questions for fiscal, IT, or HR, we can answer them. If not, we'll ask to go to executive session.
How long?
Executive or closed?
Closed.
Okay.
How long? 15 minutes.
Okay. We will go into a closed session in accordance with RCW 42.30.110 .140 for a closed session for 15 minutes.
And are we gonna shut the Zoom down and let it?
Well, now I'm gonna shut off the recording. Or pause it. Hang on.